Hey, this is Blake Moynes from season 16 of The Bachelorette.
Hi, this is Alana Milne from season 25 of The Bachelor.
Hey, I'm Lindsay Hamilton.
Hey, I'm Taylor Lucas.
And you're watching The Bros Ceremony.
And you're watching The Bros Ceremony.
And you're watching Bros Ceremony.
And you're watching The Bros Ceremony.
This is The Bros Ceremony.
Your journey's about to begin.
Recapping the week that was in Bachelor Nation and previewing what's to come in the next episode with some special betting odds.
Everyone can't wait to find out what happens next week.
Here are your hosts, Michael the Hound Dog Harrison and Adam Scully.
Will you accept this rose?
Will you accept this rose?
Will you accept this rose?
This one-on-one is a gift, and I'm ready to unwrap it. Welcome to episode 12 of the Bros Ceremony podcast. Adam Scully alongside Michael the Hound Dog Harrison. Michael, as soon as Jasenia said that, I wrote it down. I had to replay it 11 times. Make sure you get the wording right. I knew I was opening with that.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Adam. I write stuff throughout the episode as well, and I don't remember that. Say that one again. It was just too good. Please say it again.
This one-on-one is a gift, and I'm ready to unwrap it.
For some reason, I didn't pick up on that one. Normally, I would have been all over that, but that is an outstanding quote. I love it so much.
One of my favorites. Speaking of our favorites, thanks again to Taylor Lucas for joining us on episode 11 of the podcast. Some great reaction, some awesome views on YouTube, over 2,500 views on our first Instagram clip that was played out a week ago tonight. And speaking of tonight, we are down to 4. The final 4 left. Rachel, Michelle, Serena P, and Bree. We'll get into that and much more with our special guest, Carrie-ing, in just a little bit. But Michael, first, Heather. That's where we left off last week. And Heather came in, traveled across the country. And as Taylor, our Bachelor Insider, correctly guessed, she didn't last very long on this episode.
And obviously, Taylor was watching the episode live at 8 p.m. and she posted on the Bro Ceremony about, I was right. And I remember responding back like, because I'm watching obviously late at night because I get home at like 2 a.m. after work. So I was like,
right.
I didn't. It's funny, for the longest time, I didn't even actually know what she was referring to because she just said something along the lines of, I called it. And then, of course, it dawned on me. I'm like, oh, it has to be about Heather. Yeah, all that way to the house or to the mansion. And then Matt sends her packing right away pretty quickly. But not with a massive amount of drama. My goodness, those women who just 3 episodes earlier were bashing the other women, Anna and MJ and Queen Victoria for being super mean and rude and all that stuff, were like piranhas. They were ripping her to shreds, Heather. It's like, okay, I can understand the shock and being upset. And I'm sure the producers also told them to be, act like surprised and all mad, but it was like, okay, this is excessive, I thought, especially as you mentioned, Jasenia, who was the one who was ripping MJ for being a mean girl. And she was just going off. It's like, I can understand Piper being the most upset because her conversation was interrupted by Heather. But my goodness, some of the things those women were saying, it's like, oh my goodness, yikes.
Yeah, obviously we're huge fans of the show. We have a podcast talking about the show, but that 5 minutes, that was cringeworthy. That was, I honestly, I almost changed the channel. Like that was the closest I've been to changing the channel. They were outright bullying her. I mean, obviously they're upset. They've been there for 6 weeks. They're down to, at that point, 9 or 10 of them were remaining. But what they were saying, and Heather, she seems like a very sweet girl. She started to cry. It's like if you get barraged, good word, by 10 people at once, at some point you're going to break down. And oh man, that was just cringeworthy to watch.
I thought Heather handled it extremely well considering the circumstances, but yeah, obviously extremely late to be coming into the process and in the journey. So clearly Matt wasn't vulnerable enough for her, but tough situation to be thrown into, although I guess she wanted to be put in the show as it were, but yeah. Didn't really make a whole lot of sense for her to. It would have been amazing had he kept her though. I really, really was pulling for that. This would have been so much fun.
Yeah, just keep her. The drama would be amazing. It would be riveting television to watch. But unfortunately, Heather was sent home. She went all that way. She got to meet Matt. She got to hug Matt. She got to have a couple conversations with Matt. but then she went home. So maybe we'll see Heather again on Paradise. As they say, Michael, only time will tell. So a couple other ladies were sent home that night during the rose ceremony. Next morning, Chris Harrison walks into the room, and I don't know about you, I was kind of surprised they didn't edit more of him out of the episode.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe it was already done and they couldn't finish things up. That was my thing. I don't know.
Oh, that's a great take. I definitely noticed that as well. I was like, you think under any means necessary, they would have taken anything out that wasn't completely important, other than it's still not even important, obviously. At the end of the rose ceremony, you just him just saying, "Hey, this is the last rose tonight." Hilarious that he does that, by the way, every single time. I love it so much because it's like, okay, there's one rose there. It's clearly we know that. But no, you're right. That's a great take, Adam. That they should have edited. It's a really hard word to say. Edited. Let me try again. Edited. Close enough.
Hey,
Chris Harrison
almost
in
there.
the show, because it was sort of surprising. No question about that.
Yeah, so I mean, he won't be hosting the After the Final Rose, as we mentioned in our last episode. We'll keep updating you on this ongoing developing situation as news continues to break. So after the rose ceremony the following morning, a date card is brought out, and Serena P gets the one-on-one. Abigail wasn't very pleased. She, and I know she's one of your favorites right off the get-go. You read her bio during our extravaganza preview edition, and she didn't get the one-on-one. Obviously she was sent home a little later, spoiler alert, but it's just too bad she didn't get more one-on-one time.
Yeah, I guess I think I respect him for being like, honestly, it's not working out. But I feel like it could have been a week or two before. It seems like he wasn't really invested for a long time. So why even drag out the process? It was just so disappointing. Abigail seemed like the sweetest girl, like absolutely the best right away. I'd be stunned that she wouldn't, if she wasn't on Paradise. I think that'd be crazy, unless of course she finds love. But yeah, so then the woman who did get the date card, of course, Serena P. I felt like such a kinship to her, and I loved her so much more when she, instead of faking it and being like, "Oh, I love this." What was it called? Tantric yoga or whatever.
Tantric yoga. Yep.
Such nonsense crap. I'm so thankful that she was just like, "No, I hate this. This is not for me." I thought that she was going to be sent home for saying that right away. Pretty much. Hilarious. Who that again? Like just some of the stuff that woman was saying, it's like, okay, namaste, all this stuff. Just stop. I would be like, I'm leaving the date. No, bye-bye.
I was just impressed with how good they were at it. Like she was fully in a plank, and Matt had her sort of propped up doing this yoga. What I'm leaning towards is maybe the fans will want a bros ceremony tantric yoga session.
Oh, wow. That would be something else. Oh my, I would like die if I had to, do a tantric. Just anytime you use the word tantric in front of anything is just like, that does not sound like it's going to be good at all. That just sounds crazy. And to her credit, like we said, like I said, it was really good that she was like, no, I don't want to do this again, Matt. Let's just go golfing. The golf course there looks spectacular at the resort.
So good.
Let's just go golfing. Let's do that.
You know what? All I have to say to that, Michael, is namaste. Namaste. Now, I mentioned earlier in the show that we have a special guest joining us, and that's Carrie-ing. Carrie-ing used to work with us, and now she's moved on, and she is the host of Blog TO. She's also the social media manager for The Gist, and a huge fan of the Bachelor series, Bachelor Fashionista. I think we should go to the interview with Carrie-ing, where we'll discuss the season that's been and what's to come on The Bachelor.
Cheers to the first group date.
And we're pleased to welcome Blog TO host, social media manager for The Gist, Carrie-ing. Carrie, welcome to the Bro Ceremony podcast.
Thanks for having me, guys. I think you also forgot Bachelor Obsessed.
You know what? I was going to go with Bachelor Fashionista.
I
don't know. Yeah.
I actually like that one better. I'm going to have to add that to the bio.
Yeah, I think, that to the bio. So we've had a number of guests on this show, but no guest has ever joined us on their birthday. So first of all, happy birthday. I'm sure you feel you're young. You're not 30 yet, so you're feeling young. It's the big 2-9, which is awesome. Happy birthday. Looking forward to celebrating with tonight's episode or what?
Oh man, I'm stoked. Gonna have some Pinot Gris, gonna have some birthday cake, fire up the batch. Sounds like the perfect birthday to me.
Yeah, no, it's what do you think is going to happen tonight? Like we're down to the final four now. Of course, I think it seems pretty obvious who's going to win this the whole thing, or may not win it, but I guess steal Matt's heart. But do you think it's pretty obvious, or do you have a couple of contenders?
I think it's pretty obvious. Like, I think Rachel, I mean, with all of the drama that's happening right now, her name's being pushed out quite a bit. I think it's a little bit obvious that she's crowned the Bachelor, she's the winner of this season. But I'll be honest with you. I was talking to my girlfriend about this the other night too. There's not like one girl this season that I was like, I love her. And so the final four, I'm kind of like, about. And usually there's like one or two where I'm just like, this girl is sick, like, or this dude is sick. Like, I hope that they win. Like, I would pick them. They're amazing. But this season, I just kind of feel like there's not one that I'm just like stoked about.
I guess it would have been Abigail had she stayed.
She was a sweetheart. I loved Abigail. And I also was a huge fan of Kit. Obviously, she was like 21 or 22. So she was super young. And like, I respect the shit out of her for being like, you know what? Like, my career is super important for me. Like, I know that like, I'm not going to be able to give you like marriage and kids and all that kind of stuff until a little bit later down the road. And I think that she like has a really solid head on her shoulders. At the same time, super young and like still has a lot that she wants to accomplish. But I really, really liked Kit. But again, I was like online and everyone's like, yeah, she did it right. You know, she just stayed long enough to get that like influencer status, get all those followers, and then she dipped. But I was a big fan of Kit.
Yeah, she'll definitely get a bunch of likes. And as Alana told us when she was on our show, maybe some people sliding into her DMs. Who knows? But I mean, Hound Dog and I have talking a lot about Serena P. She's from Toronto somewhere. We're taping the show remotely, of course, in Toronto. She did a bit of an interesting date, the tantric yoga. I mean, what were your thoughts on that?
Okay, so she's a sweetheart. A little like under the radar, to be honest with you. I feel like she's just kind of like slid by the whole season. She's also a Laurier gal, so big fan. I went to Laurier, so hell yeah, Golden Hawks. But yeah, I don't know. The date was awkward. Like I actually thought she was going to get sent home, to be honest with you. And like the weird, like, did you see the meme? I think there was a meme on Twitter and it was like them like kissing someone and she's like pulling back and it was just like incredibly awkward. I felt awkward. I feel awkward majority of the time, but I was like, oh my God, like this is secondhand embarrassment. This is cringe. But she's a sweetheart. Like, I don't know, obviously would love for a Toronto gal to win, but I don't know. I just don't know if the chemistry is totally there with them. I think that there's like a spark of interest, but I'm not sure if the chemistry is there with them.
And would you yourself want to do tantric yoga with this woman? As soon as a woman said namaste when they walked in, I was like, oh my God, just stop right now. Good Lord, no.
I would do anything with Matt James. So yeah, I would do it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm down. I would do it.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Now, okay. So we mentioned Bachelor Fashionista. Matt likes to rock the turtleneck. So it seemed like it was kind of chilly where they were. Me and turtleneck, I might be a little old school. I've never worn a turtleneck, maybe when I was like 4 or 5 years old to go to kindergarten. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the turtleneck with the blazer look?
I like it.
Okay.
I mean, like, you guys know me. I love fashion. I love NBA fashion. They're always a little bit eccentric and a little bit out there. So yeah. I'm always into that kind of stuff. I love the personality in there. I think Matt too, like I've crept his Instagram and he's always kind of rocked that style. I was waiting for the salmon suit to appear, but I have not seen that yet. So I'm just like waiting for that moment, but I don't think that one's coming. But no, I like his style. I think it's like a little basic, to be honest with you. I would love to see like some cool sneakers in there, a little bit of flash of color, but no, he's been like keeping it pretty neutral. I mean, I'm a fan of the turtleneck blazer combo, but it gives me like Chris Paul vibes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Interesting indeed. I don't know if you've heard the rumors. I won't say just in case you haven't, but who the next Bachelorette is going to be. Have you heard any rumors about that? And if you have, what do you think about that?
Well, it was the girl with the vibrator. What was her name?
Katie.
Katie.
Yes.
I mean, I really liked her. However, I do think that the Bachelor franchise really needs to diversify. So I would love to see some more diversity in there. I remember I was watching this video of all the past Bachelorettes, and it was like obviously going to oh my gosh, who was the last Bachelorette? I'm blanking.
Oh, Hannah Brown.
Hannah.
No,
not Hannah Brown.
I think I should know this.
Claire.
Yes,
Sorry.
Claire. Thank you.
It was.
Tasha,
I mean,
yeah.
that season
Tasha.
was forgettable, anyways. Like I was like, get out of this. Tasha was amazing.
Yeah.
But I was just watching like the history of everyone, and it's just like white girl, white girl, white girl, white girl, white girl. So I would love to see some diversity. I mean, I thought Katie was hilarious. I think she has a really great personality. She obviously is has a great profession going on, and like I think has a lot of stuff going on and has her shit together. But I would like to see some diversity because it's pretty bad, and especially with the recent stuff, it would
It's pretty crazy to think that up until a couple of years ago, there wasn't anyone other than a white lead on this show. That it honestly blows my mind that it hasn't happened or whatever. Because his name was Mike. He was on Paradise. He was on. Everyone loved Mike, and it was like
great.
It seemed like he was a shoo-in a few years ago. It's like everyone loves him. He's great, and they passed him up. And it's like. It honestly is crazy to think that it hasn't even. And I would also like to have some more Asian contestants on the show because I feel like there was maybe one or two every season and that's it. Like, and then there was one that came in. She was part of the new girls that came in, and then she was gone within like 5 seconds or whatever. Kimberly, I think her name was. I would like to have some. It's crazy to think that it hasn't happened until just recently.
Well, I heard a rumor that they want to have within the next couple of seasons have like 20% white and the rest be more diverse, which I think would be great. I would love to see more like Asian, Filipino, all of that kind of stuff. I think would be awesome. And just like I don't know, like when I walk around down the street in Toronto and I walk in New York and LA and all those places, it's very diverse. It's not all white people. So it's like, like there's some really solid bachelors and bachelorettes out there, and I think they definitely need to open it up a little bit. And like even I think back because Rachel Lindsay was the first Black Bachelorette. And I was like, that was 2-3 years ago. I also met her in person at the NBA when the Raps were playing the Golden State Warriors. And I think she was doing ESPN or NBA, TNT, or I forget what she was hosting on, but I met her in the Jurassic Park. Stunning. Like I looked at her and her skin just like glows and she just like has this aura around her and she was so polite and so nice, and I was just like, I would like to be your best friend.
How long did you talk to her for a long time? Did you have beers with her? Tell us that.
I mean, I wish I had beers with her. No, it was like a very quick, like she was coming off set. I was in the media press place and I was like, hey, Rachel. I kind of like panicked because I'm like, huge fan. And she's like, hey, nice to meet you. And then it kind of like we went our separate ways. She was going back on set. So it was really neat to meet her in person, but like lovely, lovely, lovely. And like just absolutely stunning. Such a badass. So cool. And I think she like sets a standard and an example for people that they should be looking out for.
And I agree. And two-part question. Have you met any other contestants from the Bachelor series? And if not, who would be the one that you would most want to see?
Wow.
Yeah, I've met a few. So Ingrid and Kevin, I've met a few times. They're cool. They're chill. They're very like normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're just like normal people. I've interviewed, do you guys remember like a few seasons ago? And they pegged these two dudes. And they were like in a hot tub together or something.
Yeah.
Okay. So I met one of those guys. I actually interviewed him. And he was a chill, again, very chill dude. And he's like, the producers completely manipulated that situation. That's not how it went down. Yeah, we were bros, but like, no. And he was really nice. I'm trying to think if I've met anyone else. You know, who was that guy from Florida? And he looked, oh my gosh.
Oh, I think you told me the story. Robert?
Yes, Robbie.
Robbie, yes.
Oh,
yes.
Robbie.
Told me this. Yeah.
The beard, I think, yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, like douchebag. Like,
That's fine.
like, just like walk, and I'm sure he's a nice person, just first impression wise.
Just a douchebag.
I wouldn't give him my rose. but he made it pretty far on that season. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and who would I want to meet in Bachelor Nation?
Matt, obviously.
Matt, hundo %. Matt James, take my heart. Yeah, I don't know. Like Matt James.
Ben Higgins, perhaps?
Oh, I love Ben Higgins. And I also watched him on Julie Stewart-Banks' podcast show on Fubo yesterday. And he was saying that he had a parasite the entire time that he shot that, and he lost 30 pounds, which is insane. He's like, yeah, I would be on the beach on a one-on-one, and I'd be like, I have to go to the washroom. So like, that's insane. And Lauren, like him and Lauren, obviously he talked about their relationship a little bit, but like, could you imagine having a parasite the entire season?
I wish they just would have focused on that the entire time. That would have been some spectacular television. It would have been like, this romantic moment they're about to kiss, and then just, sorry,
sorry. I gotta run. I gotta book it, Larry. Like, I gotta take a Larry right now.
Well, speaking of Ben Higgins, we could have some big news around Ben Higgins. We'll just tease it at that. But you mentioned giving away a rose. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, you were the Bachelorette. Would you have some sort of dream date or date card, whether it be a group date or a one-on-one?
Okay, so I loved when Peter and Madison played, or no, it wasn't Peter and Madison, but her dad's the coach at where's he the coach at? Virginia?
Maybe
Kentucky.
It was a big school. Kentucky, maybe Kentucky. Anyways, obviously playing some sort of like basketball, incorporating some sports, but then also cooking together would be super dope. I just feel like the one-on-ones are hard because it's like, obviously there's so many cameras around and it's hard to actually get to know each other. It's intimidating. So doing something that I'm really comfortable with. So like, obviously like shooting hoops or like making food or just chilling and watching the sports game. I mean, that I know that wouldn't be like the most exciting date to film, but like something like that, I feel like would be super fun.
By the way, Madison's dad, Auburn.
Yeah. I was like, there was, yeah. And I mean, I remember like them going through the facility and I was just like, oh yeah, nice school.
Yeah.
I think wasn't it like it wasn't her dad. Wasn't it like her like family friend's dad or something like that? I don't think it was exactly her dad. Doesn't matter. But
no, I think it was her dad. According to Google, Madison's dad, Auburn. Yeah, it was his dad. It was her.
And she was
internet never lies, right?
She's been linked to a quarterback, Rudolph, I think.
Oh, Rudolph?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
Now, also, so, we've watched, obviously, Hound Dog and I are fans of the show, clearly. If you could go back, who would be your favorite Bachelor?
I wish.
Pablo?
Okay.
Juan Pablo?
Oh God. No, not a chance. I wouldn't even go on that show if he was the Bachelor.
It's okay.
Huge fan of obviously Ben Higgins. I love Matt, but I wish he would be a little bit, he's so calculated. Like everything he says is just perfect. Like I wish he would be a little bit more like fun, a little bit more like, I feel like every conversation he's like, I'm here for you. I hear you. I do this. And I'm like, that's fantastic. And I think he's such a nice guy, but I would love to see more vulnerability out of him. And like, I know he's opened up about his dad and whatnot, but like, I just wish I could see like more like him, like being a little bit of a goof and like him, like, cause I watch his Snapchats and his stories with Tyler C, and they're just complete lunatics. Like they were at the Dolphins game and they're chugging beers and they're having fun. And I'm just like, I would love to see a little bit more of that from him. From social media, obviously Matt James, I think I would like love to just chill with him, and like party with him. I think he'd be so much fun, but yeah, Higgs or Matt James, I think. I'm trying to think, like, there's been a lot of like meh guys. And I mean that like in a nice way. They're all great dudes and they all have like, they're obviously good looking, but like Colton, meh. Like Peter, meh.
You're so nice. You're like, oh, these guys were meh, but they're such nice guys. Or Robbie,
nice
he's
guy.
a douchebag, but he's a nice guy. Yeah, it's pretty.
I'm sure he's nice.
I love that you threw the word vulnerability in there. That was awesome. Speaking of being vulnerable, at the start of this last episode, Heather came onto the show, and it was really funny. I wanted to hear your thoughts on this. The women who were saying like Queen Victoria and Anna were mean girls earlier in the season, and they were right, obviously, were the same women who were bashing Heather to her face and ripping her for coming on the show, especially Jasenia. Remember her and MJ? It was like, oh, MJ, you're the mean girl. You're super rude, blah, 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 all this stuff. Then Jasenia was attacking Heather. What do you think about all that?
Well, I think that's one of the main reasons why I'm not a huge fan of these girls this season. It's because every episode we've seen, they've all just been really mean.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I know Katie was like really one of the only ones that was kind of like sticking out for others and just, a genuinely nice person. But like majority of the time, these girls are making girls feel super uncomfortable. They're like somewhat attacking them. Like with the Heather situation, I was like, this girl just, obviously we don't know the full entire story of everything. Like producers obviously were involved in this, but like this chick, like got into a van, put herself out there, got herself there. You know what? Like, and at the end of the day, I know it's tough that you guys have been there for 6 weeks and all that kind of stuff, but I feel like you have to respect the fact that Heather's at least putting herself out there, and like you can be nice. You don't have to just attack her and make her feel like absolute crap. Like I just thought that was really, I don't know, it was upsetting. I was like, don't be mean to her. That's so bad. And like even some of the girls that I've chatted with about it, they're like, these girls are mean. Like they're just mean. So I don't know. I'd like to see some more kindness. Everyone needs a little bit more kindness, especially right now.
For sure. Like I said, I just thought it was like it would have been bad enough as it was if they were mean, but because these are literally the same people who 2-3 weeks earlier were ripping girls for being mean, we're doing the exact same thing, but even more. It was like holy, like to her face, calling her bitch and stuff like that. I think Kit called her bitch. I think to her face. It was like whoa, like yeah. Like, are insecure much? If you're secure in your relationship with Matt, it shouldn't matter that much. That I love how so much as well. So many of them. Who's that girl? Who's that? Okay, you clearly know who she is.
You all know who Heather is. Heather has been around, guys. Like, come on. Yeah, and she's Hannah Brown's best friend. Like, come on.
Yeah. So now we mentioned earlier in the show, so you think Rachel's going to go all the way, but heading into tonight's episode, the final four, we have Rachel, Michelle, Serena P, Brie. Tonight, there's always hometowns. There's always some sort of crazy family member that comes in, and hometowns are obviously a little different now with COVID, et cetera, et cetera. But who do you think goes home tonight?
I want to say Serena P.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that their relationship lacks that kind of like spark. And I just don't see it. So I think that would be my guess. I'm also a huge fan of Michelle. I think she's super cool. I wish she would have started from the beginning so we could have gotten to know her a little bit better. But like athlete, I feel like her and Matt vibed right away. She seems super funny, super cool. So like, I don't know. I'm a huge fan of her, but I do end up at the end. I do think Rachel will win. Not unfortunately, but like she wouldn't be my first pick, but that's fine.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, like I said, Serena P will be fourth. Third will be Brie. By the way, with Brie, they really screwed up the opportunity to make it seem dramatic because she said she got laid off or she lost her job. And then it was the final two for the rose, and they picked Brie right away. It was like, no, they should have left Brie to the last rose because then you'd be thinking as a viewer, oh my God, did she just admit she lost her job? And then that episode got sent home. That would have been awesome. But they gave her the rose first. I thought that was poor planning by production on that one.
Very poor planning. Also, I don't know, this is random, but I was talking to, oh my gosh, maybe I was even listening to a podcast or something, but they said that like the rose ceremonies will end up being like 12 hours long and like we'll go all the way till like 7-8 a.m. And I'm like, sometimes when I look at the gals, I'm like, and their makeup's like over here, I'm like, I get you. I get this. I would be like, my makeup would be down to here.
Well, when we had Sorry,
Adam, I was just gonna say, what would take them that long to do a rose ceremony, especially if it's like 8 people? I don't get that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I would love to just be on a fly in the wall and like just watch this production set go down. But yeah, I mean, Bachelor, the franchise it's nuts.
Yeah, it's really nuts. And when we had Blake Moynes on the show, he said he believed that they set the record for the longest night one rose ceremony. It was till like 9 or 10 in the morning. Like they were just drenched, and he said there were drinks flowing, and that's just. But you mentioned, it'd be awesome to sit in a production booth or sit in an edit suite and just see the process of how this actually goes on, because obviously there's hours and hours and hours of footage that we don't see. But aside from The Bachelor, you are also a very busy gal. Walk us through what you do with the Gist. I also just called you a gal. I don't know I'll ever do that again. But
I've been saying gal a lot lately, and I don't know what it is. So maybe you're just vibing off me.
Yeah.
So I work with The Gist.
Yeah.
We're a sports media startup. It's female founded, female run, which is amazing. I'm the social media manager, so I run all the social side of things. Just having a lot of fun with it, honestly. Like our team is amazing. Our founders are great. We're all the same age. And then we have one more full timer and then a bunch of freelancers. But our audience is bigger in the US than Canada. But it was founded in Toronto, and it since has expanded to 10 new cities. And our audience is primarily in the States. So that's been really new and interesting for me. Obviously, like coming from the TV side in Canada at TSN and Sportsnet, learning the US side, the audience is completely different. So that's been a ton of fun. And then I'm also a host with Blog TO. So I've been there for almost like 4 years, which is crazy. But I just get to try all the cool restaurants and events. Obviously with COVID, it's different right now, but I get to do that and get to host, the best thing about that job is just meeting all the chefs around the city and meeting all the people that are running some of these local restaurants. And then I guess with The Gist too, we have I'm going to plug right now.
Oh yeah, please. Plug away, baby.
We have a 3 times weekly newsletter that comes out Monday, Thursdays, and Sundays. And then we're also doing pop-up ones for major events. So like anything with like the Aussie Open or the NWHL Cup or anything like that. We do pop-up newsletters and it's a free newsletter. So subscribe. You can go to the www.thegistsports.com or hit me up on Instagram and look at my link in bio and you can sub there as well.
A lot of information there. You can follow Carrie on Instagram at Comer, Coehmer. You mentioned we worked together. Carrie, thanks so much for joining us today. I'm proud of you. We spent time working together a couple of years ago now, 3 or 4 or 5 years ago now. You've done a lot of great things in this industry, and I can't wait to see what's next for you. Thanks for joining us in the Bro Ceremony.
Thank you so much. Also proud of you guys. So thanks for having me. This was so much fun. I love that I got to talk about The Bachelor for the last 20 minutes, and I'm excited for tonight.
And quickly, a fave restaurant in Toronto. You said that you've been to a lot. What's your favorite one?
I mean, Sugo has my heart.
Ooh.
I'm a big pasta, Caesar salad, pizza gal. So I think Sugo has my heart.
I think might have to go eat some Sugo before the episode tonight. Maybe hit it up on Uber Eats and see if they deliver. Sushi. Carrie, thanks for your time this morning or today, whenever we're recording this, and enjoy the episode tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Ladies, gentlemen, it's the final rose tonight.
Michael, some great stuff there from Carrie-ing. Awesome to see the success that she's had, and great to see that she's a huge Bachelor fan as well. So many highlights from that interview.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love that so much to me that she, again, which I said to her at the time of the interview, that she was like, Robbie guy, he's a douchebag, but he seemed like, I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure he's a really, really good guy. It was just, that was hilarious to me. She's such a wonderful woman and so nice that even when she was ripping these guys, she was still complimenting them. So I thought that was quite funny myself.
I thought her comments about the turtlenecks. I really think we should get some turtlenecks. We might have to just to give it a go. I don't know if we could pull it off. We might sweat a little bit.
Does she only like the turtleneck look because it's on Matt? Like he pulls it off pretty well. So maybe it's. I know I couldn't pull it off, is what I'm saying. So maybe it's just a Matt thing because he's obviously a beautiful, beautiful man.
Maybe. Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Maybe we'll get a turtleneck sponsor at some point in our time. Now, we mentioned in the interview with Carrie a little bit about Kit, who was one of the final to be sent home. Well, actually, she essentially said she was falling in love with Matt and he would have to be patient with her. And then she went to Matt's place after she didn't get that group date rose that Rachel got and said, Matt, I'm done. Thoughts?
Yeah, she sort of she did fall on her own sword on that one. But previously in the episode, she was essentially saying, I want to have kids when I'm like 26. I'm not going to be married right away. So it's obviously she was trying to sue her herself and get him to get rid of her. I guess maybe then she would have gotten more sympathy or something along those lines, perhaps. Mm-hmm. Maybe that was her plan. Because then later in the episode, she fell on her own sword and she just decided to leave for no real reason, actually.
Yeah.
It just seems sort of strange to me. She was much more cool and chill than her profile. If I remember correctly, at the start of the season, it seemed like she was going to be causing drama. She definitely didn't do that at all. She seemed really good. But she had mentioned how her mom was this big fashionista, whatever type of woman. And so she had to have been calculated throughout her whole life. And she had to be this perfect image that she had to put out to the world because of that. I felt like it was a little bit robotic to me personally toward the end with this last episode, where there was virtually no tears and she just decided to leave without a seatbelt, by the way. And it was just, I just didn't really think that Kit really, I don't know. It just felt like there was no real emotion, or she didn't really care. It almost felt like it was a calculated thing to maybe get more followers, or maybe a reality show, who knows, in the future. It just, I don't know. It just didn't strike me as being completely as dramatic or as real as it maybe perhaps should have been. I don't know about you. Did you think that at all, or?
I did find it a little strange how basically she said she could maybe see herself falling in love with Matt, and then 11 minutes later said, I can't be here much longer after Rachel got the rose.
No real explanation really as to why that wasn't the case. Like that's what I mean. It feels sort of calculated a little bit. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but
maybe. I mean, we'll have to have Kit on the bros ceremony here, and we'll have to discuss that at length. Was she being calculated? Was she being fake? I mean, only time will tell. Maybe we'll have to have her on, and maybe we'll see her in paradise a little later.
We love you, Kate. We love you, Kate. Come on the show. Sorry.
Yeah, she was great. She was great. She was great. She had a great one-on-one with Matt earlier when they were cooking together. Like, that was sort of what Carrie was talking about. Like, you want a one-on-one where it's like an actual date. Like, you're not going in a hot air balloon and then, have some private concert. Like, you're cooking and watching watching the Joe Schmo show or something.
Yes. Or the mole. Yeah. A real life actual thing that could possibly happen, as opposed to, hot air balloon would be really cool. And I've never been in one. Of course, it'd be amazing, but it's not exactly realistic. That was Michelle's first date.
That's
she
right.
was in the hot air balloon, and she right away was like a fan favorite almost instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's in the final four here. What are you thinking? Do you think she might make it through this episode tonight?
Yeah, I really do agree with Carrie. I think Serena P is the one to go home tonight. Unfortunately, I don't see her connection being as great as Bree, Rachel, or Michelle. What do you think?
I agree. Unfortunately, I agree. I hate agreeing on that, but and Bree hasn't done a whole lot the last few episodes either. She had a really good one-on-one, 3-4 episodes ago, and she's sort of been pushed in the background a little bit, I find. So I think she might be the one gone, and perhaps Serena P is the one who's gone third or it finishes third. Either or. I think for sure the final two are Michelle and Rachel, and I'm pretty darn sure Rachel is the winner of this season. And that's why the show has been, they're waiting for the PR barrage that's about to strike. At least for, I guess, the PR people, they're going to have like a month or two to plan their strategy for this, because they obviously know who wins the show. But I'm pretty darn sure it seems like Rachel's going to be winning the season. Obviously, if Michelle wins, that will save things so much. The show desperately, I'm sure, wants Michelle to win for their PR, but I just don't see it.
Now, you mentioned predictions and what we think is going to happen, and we've discussed at length that we are both in a Bachelor pool. Now, last week I was making a bit of a comeback. I was getting there. I was making leaps and bounds. Mm-hmm. Update our viewers. What has happened since?
You were making moves, and well, I'm sorry to say, Adam, you were 49th in the pool. I'm 41st. So we're both terrible. I think it's a 54 people or 55 people, something like that. So we're both brutal, but I am less brutal than you are.
I will say that
every aspect of life, perhaps.
I wholeheartly agree with that. First of all, second of all, I did forget to set my picks. I will say that, which is just a brutal take on my part to, be so lazy and, a couple pucks at my head. Sometimes I just forget to do things.
I'm pretty sure that it auto picks for you. But did you play goaltender? I didn't know that you had some pucks to the net. OHL goaltender. I'm talking to royalty right now.
Now, Michael, before we sign off here for episode 12 of the Bros Ceremony, you are also the host of the H Dog Pod. You had some great reaction your last couple of episodes, a lot of listens. What's coming up next?
Yeah, we had Heather a couple episodes ago, over 100 listens, and same with Robert Lucetich, the author for the Tiger Woods book, which was fantastic. A coworker of ours, Flo, the production assistant. This woman is like the funniest woman you'll ever meet, and she can say some things where you're like, how the hell can you say that? And everyone thinks it's funny and charming. Like, for example, she will openly talk about her poops. No problem at all. She talks about her poops. And it's like, obviously, if I were to do that, no chance. Everyone was gonna be like, oh my God, shut the hell up, man. But somehow she talked about her poops, and it's the funniest thing ever. And I know she loves chicken McNuggets. I know she loves them. She smashes them like crazy. I'm going to ask her, of course, on the spot, and I did, about, she smashes these McNuggets, talks about her poops. Natural follow-up, has she used a bidet before? So that's
of course. That's just on a platter for you. You got to ask that question.
I haven't talked enough about bidets, I must say, on the H-Dog pod. So we must delve deeply into that. She's a hilarious woman. And we're going to talk about The Bachelor. She's a huge Bachelor fan, huge Survivor fan. We're going to be discussing that as well. So I'm stoked because Flo is just the funniest.
You can find the H-Dog pod on iTunes or any of your favorite podcast platforms. That's also the first time we have mentioned the term bidet on the Bros Ceremony podcast. I'm quite surprised, quite frankly, okay, that it's taken this long to mention bidets on this podcast because you have one.
We honestly, Adam, we should get a bidet sponsor because
we should.
They literally change your life. And for some reason in North American culture, a lot of people are scared by them. I don't understand. It's water that cleans you quicker, and it cleans you very, very, very well. There's nothing weird or strange about it. They're the greatest thing of all time. Literally having one will make your bidet.
Well, okay, there's no way to segue from that. The hometown dates on The Bachelor, they get underway tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, City TV, ABC, wherever you're watching, whether you're watching on PVR or whatever. Enjoy tonight's episode. We'll have a full recap next week of the hometowns and look ahead, the Fab 3, the final 3 for the fantasy suites. Who are the final 3 going to be? We'll find out, and we'll discuss and analyze on next week's show. This has been episode 12 of the Bros Ceremony podcast. For Michael the Hound Dog Harrison, I'm Adam Scully. We'll see you next time right here on the Bros Ceremony.